Welcome to Cantina Vizsla. For the safety of the bartenders and any other patrons, remember to keep all arms, legs, tentacles, or any other extremities you may have to yourself at all times. So come right in, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Coming to you from the Panic Room in the crap part of the cantina, I'm Sparrow, and with me, as always, is a man who some say CG will have to create a new word to comprehend his legendary event. All I know is I call him Stan.
It's going to be Extrumpulus.
Extrumpulus?
Yeah.
I was thinking like Argyrascrumpulhumpulus.
That could work too.
Yeah, well,
it depends on how you're modded.
Of course. I mean, God tier mods just make everything easy, right?
Gotta have it. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, it's been one hell of a week running around. There's events inside the game, outside the game. How's your week been?
Oh, man. It's been 1 week, 2 weeks. I can't even tell anymore. It's been so much stuff going on.
Believe it or not, it's only been 1 week.
Has it, man? It's been crazy. We had, well, let's see. We are in pollen hell down here, so I've kind of got the sniffles. I was sick a few days. I think I'm on the mend. We'll see. Maybe nature will have another idea for me, but man, we've had Endgame came out.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Game of Thrones doing its thing. Are you caught up on everything?
Yes, I'm caught up on everything.
We're not going to spoil nothing here, but see all of those things. So good.
Yeah, both of them are absolutely amazing. The only thing that kind of ruined Endgame for me was just, I swear, they had to have been high school kids in front of me. I'm like, the movies in the series have been setting up for this the whole time, and you're freaking out and losing your mind over a simple plot point that you could see coming for like half the movie. But I mean, other than that, it was good. The movie overall was good, which you're going to run into people like that no matter what at a movie theater when they do, $1.2 billion or
right.
opening weekend worldwide. Yeah, you're bound to run into people like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like everything else. Do you hype these things up in your mind on what your perfect scenario is, and if it doesn't hit all of those notes, then you're disappointed and therefore it sucks.
Yeah, like Solo and all the new Star Wars movies.
Pretty much every piece of media that comes out now.
Yes, pretty much. Twitter reaction world.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of all that negativity. Yeah, that's pretty much been it. Finished listening to Master and Apprentice, the new book that came out, and finished that up. Really liked it. Not groundbreaking, but spread some light on Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's relationship, and kind of why Qui-Gon was so enthralled with the prophecy of the Chosen One. So kind of explains episode 1 just a little bit better.
Okay.
It's got some other good background stuff with Count Dooku. It really fits well with the audio production of Dooku Lost Jedi that released, I believe, yesterday. So I've been working my way through that, and it's not an audio book that's being read. It's a full audio production, which means it's a little awkward with the way it's presented because everything is first-person exposition. So they're saying things that, they're explaining the scene because it's audio, but it just sounds awkward in a lot of points. So it's not quite as tightly edited as, say, an audiobook would be, but it's still got some pretty neat things in it. It really goes into the background of Dooku as he was a Jedi, and it's starting to build up to why he left the Order, kind of how he ended up siding with the Separatists. So I'm enjoying it too, at least for the background.
Okay, yeah. You're going all over the place with your audiobooks recently.
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of Audible credits saved up, so I'm spending them.
All right. Well, anything else this week?
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to new patron Thomas P. Shoot me a message. I'm not sure what your Discord name is. That way we can get you set up with all your extra room access and goodies. And any other patrons out there, I got a message up in the patron room. So read that.
Yeah, definitely. Chewy's always happy. We're glad you're supporting us, and lets us do this a little bit longer. Get through technical issues and arguing with computers like always, but who doesn't? The way of the world anymore. But yeah, I mean, my week.
So what have you been up to?
My week's pretty much been the same. I mean, I went through and watched really just the weekend. I mean, I went through. My brother had the bright idea to watch Endgame Friday before we went out to my cousin's wedding, and I'm like, all right, 7:30, all those movies are sold out. So he's like, oh, we'll go at 11. Smart idea for me. I didn't look at the runtime.
Yeah, it's a bladder stretcher.
Yeah, especially when it's 11 o'clock at night is when the movie's starting, not including previews. So it's like I didn't get out of the movie theater till 2:45, and then I had to wake up first thing in the morning to drive 2.5 hours to get down to a wedding.
Oh.
In which I was up again and staying out at the bar until about 1:30. So it was a rough weekend. And then, then just driving back to get Game of Thrones right at like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, that one's long also. It's like, I was like, thank God I'm going back to work. I could actually go through, sit down, have my coffee, and actually be able to sleep.
Yeah, we was at my girlfriend's sister's house. It was her birth week, basically. We've been celebrating it all week. She had it on Easter. Just going to put a damper on some of the activities we could do. So we just made a party all week. Had a peep cake. It was a cake wrapped with peeps, filled with sixlets and candy, and it was just amazing. But anyway, we stayed there a little longer than I wanted to. So I'm like tapping my foot, looking at my clock. I'm like, I got to get home. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Man, how many weddings have you been to this year?
Wow. What? I guess my cousin's wedding. This is the second one.
This is like, okay, for whatever reason, it seems like it's more than that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was right around Christmas. I basically got through Christmas and went right down to a wedding. I have another wedding here, and then I have one here, 2 coming up early fall, end of summer.
Man, that's a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
So if you're out there looking to get hitched, just hang out with Sparrow.
Yeah, apparently. Everybody around me.
Yeah. So they are completing their relationship goals. Are you completing anything in the game?
Wow. Great
How's
segue
that
there. That was a great segue there. Not really, because with all the information, I went through from being very close to wrapping a whole bunch of stuff up to kind of hoarding mode. I went through and did get Darkseid Bastila up to gear 12 and got Darth Revan completely maxed out. So he's full gear, everything ready to go. And I'm working on gearing up Sith Trooper, but kind of put a pause on that because I might have to gear some Geonosians.
Maybe.
Yeah, it kind of has me nervous. So I'm just going through. I was like, I can wait a week and a half to figure out whether I can actually go through, gear up this arena team that I want to switch to, or actually spend some gear to go through and make sure I get a character.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, so what did you do this week?
I had to gear my Sith Trooper up too. I just was not holding on arena. So I went ahead and put him up to gear 12, did some remodding, and finally, and lo and behold, it makes a difference.
Imagine that.
Doing a little bit better arena now. I went ahead and put the second Zeta on Malik, not knowing full well the changes that are coming, but I don't think it's going to be that big an impact on Malik in particular, so I felt good putting it on there. It's still going to be a top-tier team.
Everything I saw...
But I am back to...
Yeah, everything that I saw and everything, I definitely think defensively this Darth Revan team is going to be the top the top meta.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's just so much knee-jerk reaction right now. Yeah, I was joking on our Discord. Just got on Reddit to try to round up some news stories and get a link to the actual EA site. And my God, the bitching and moaning. It's just about everything.
Anything and everything, that's right.
It's the past year. Revan's the only meta. We need something to change. Okay, well, here's Darth Revan. It's overpowered. Power creep. Make it stop. Okay, well, here's a counter to Darth Malak. Our investment in Malak. Oh, my God. Okay, well, let's tune it down. Oh, my God, you're nerfing characters. God damn, man.
I did like how CG put in that essentially 900 people that have never spent a dime in the game got Darth Malak.
Yeah.
How you feeling about yourself now, everybody else that's complaining? 900
people, they were complaining about that. Like, oh, look how patronizing they are, throwing these numbers in our face. Oh, man,
yeah, they're complaining and showing you. It's saying, get good, son. Get good.
Yes. Hey, but if you're on Reddit and you want a nice, positive place to talk about the game, come over to Discord. We're friendly.
Well, speaking of that, too, because you went through and made that comment, that I went through and decided to set a few things up in our Discord. So it's actually pulling from the forums now. So I actually have news posts showing up. I have podcasts showing up. I was working on some YouTube channels. If you're listening and you have like specific YouTube channels or anything like that you go through and prefer watching, as far as Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, let us tag me in Discord, and I will work on getting that content creator going through to auto-populate when they actually publish videos. That way you don't have to go to YouTube or that horrible place that starts with an R. You don't have to go there. And if you're already on Discord to begin with, you can just check to see if there's any new videos or get alerts when they drop a new video.
Yeah, and we're in there pretty much all day, unless we got work.
Yeah, crazy thing.
You don't have to pay to talk to us. Just come in there, say hi, and just shoot the breeze with us. Yeah, we do have some patron only rooms, but the vast majority is absolutely free.
Yeah, and like I said, anytime Stan goes through and complains about having to go on that R word to get news, and next thing you know, we have channels created to populate the news just for Stan.
Right, so my suffering has an upside.
I need to rename the room Stan's Newsfeed.
Right. I'm go nowhere else. I'm old. Things don't work like they used to.
Yes. So, we had news in Discord now, but what about Star Wars news outside of Discord?
It's been really light. We are kind of still post-celebration lull. We got May the 4th coming up, which is my birthday that Disney and Lucasfilm have stolen from me and turned it into May the 4th Star Wars Day. It's a good thing I like Star Wars, so it fits.
Well, but look on the positive side. You have your birthday, and then everyone that actually sells Star Wars stuff all discounts it for May the 4th for your birthday.
Yep.
They're like, it's Stan's birthday. We better discount everything for him.
Yeah, so look out for deals on that. The game will be having some little bonus content coming out for us. There'll be double drops on hard nodes, light side and dark side, fleet, and cantina battles. So it looks like it's across the board double drops for the 4th and the 5th.
All right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, save up some crystals, buy those refreshes, and use them up. I know I'm going to do that for at least for cantina. Probably everything.
Yeah, I don't need Cantina, but I will definitely be farming those droids. And if you run out of crystals, they will have a 25% crystal bonus sale on certain packs. It's a one-time purchase on each pack. So,
AKA, it's probably the $20 pack because they haven't had anything with the 25% crystal bonus other than that pack for the last year and a half now.
Yeah, well, they said packs. I'm optimistic. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll also be getting some mod slicing materials in our inbox and 20 Zeta mats.
Was that also with the Omegas? If I read that correctly.
I didn't see the Omegas.
I thought it was something where they said enough material to upgrade to 1 Zeta. But, I mean, either way. 20 Zeta mats, I will take it. I will use them and put them on someone.
Yeah, for sure. I may put it on a new character coming up very soon.
Yeah, I may do that. May do some old characters. I mean, I could do CLS, JTR, Mother Talzin. I got plenty of different options to go through. So, yeah, we go through. We have the calendar of your birthday coming up. What is going on within the game, though, on this calendar watch? Because we're going into a new month, so obviously we got a new login character, and I want to know if any of these events and everything have you excited.
Well, we've got aggressive negotiations starting in the morning. We are recording on the 1st. We've had a smuggler's run today. We got a contraband cargo. All those new gear events are pretty nice. Galactic bounties are coming back up. We'll have a credit heist on the 4th. May the force be with you on that. We've got Emperor's Demise coming up on the 9th. A smattering of Grand Arena and Territory Wars. We got one with a bonus, followed up with a vanilla. Then, let's kind of go through here. Yoda's coming back. We've got, there's a blank spot on the calendar, but they have come out and said that there will be no new character releases this month. So, maybe that would have been where it was at. They said they had a Galactic Chase event planned, but they're going to probably push it. If they don't, it'll probably be around the 16th or 17th. But then the last thing that caught my eye is the last territory war for the month is going to be 3v3.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, our territory war general is not, but I think it could be pretty fun. It's going to be something different. We've kind of decided we're just going to have fun with it and see what happens.
I mean, I think everybody's going to have to do that to some extent, at least for this one, because we haven't, other than Grand Arena, we really haven't gone through and actually seen walls of a certain character to figure out how to counter it and everything like that. So it's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how many teams will be required. When you think if they double the amount of teams, you're looking at a 50-team wall.
Yeah, like I said, I'm curious to see how it goes through and turns out. And obviously, it's going to go through and take those people who kind of lukewarm about Grand Arena but really like Territory Wars, and they're going to take those Territory War generals, and it's going to kick it up a notch as far as people figuring out these better teams for 3v3 and counters.
Yeah, well, we've got about 3 weeks worth of theory crafting to work on it. So I think we'll be a little prepared than we think we will be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not really worried about it. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be an interesting twist on Territory Wars that I think it needed, really.
Yeah, I mean, variety never hurts. I mean, just doing the same thing gets old.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the Territory Wars to be, or the Grand Arena 3v3. I prefer the 3v3 because it creates a different aspect of it, and you can't just go through. Is the big thing I've noticed. A lot of the player base is going through, and there's kind of a big divide on people that go through and, hey, I can look on Discord and look on this bot and look on YouTube and find this straight counter for each and every team that you throw up there. But in 3v3, there really isn't anything like that. You have to know what the characters do and think of a counter that works against them. So it actually benefits people that actually know the game really well and not very reliant on YouTube and everything else in general. You have to go through and actively think about what counters what.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about strategy at the end of the show. But, yeah, you're right. It does. You have to think about it a little bit different. We did mention the login character would be Magna Guard. So, again, that's tying in with the Clone Wars, tying in with kind of the theme they're in right now. will be a needed character for the event coming up. So, yay.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, it looks pretty good. Them dropping the event, I'm not really upset about as far as a new character coming in, because it's going to give me a chance to actually get caught up a little bit as far as gearing after all these. And it's not even so much all the characters they brought out all at once. It's that these characters fit into different teams that you pretty much had to gear from scratch. So it's been a constant gear. All right, I geared this team. It's up, working. Time to go on to the next. And it was a lot of bouncing back and forth. So I really want to go back through and be able to go through and finish out these teams, get them actually solid, working well, and then move on. So this is going to be a nice little lull and everything. I have a feeling before we get into the new Darkside Territory battle on Geonosius.
Yeah. Well, that's just kind of crazy, though, is the release cadence has still been really slow compared to what it was last year.
Yeah, because last year we were averaging, about 3 characters a month, at least.
Yeah.
And now we're down to maybe, most we had this year so far was 2, and that was B1 and Droidica. And was the ETA the Galactic Chase event? Was that the same time? So we did have 3 a month, but we're going into May. We're going to have 0, and I think January we didn't have a character. So as a marquee,
yeah, I mean the cadence has slowed down, and I think it's being balanced out by some of the gear requirements.
Not even so much gear requirements, but legendary events, marquee events, and different events coming up that require characters and certain factions. Because, as we talked about, it's not just for the end game players; it's for these mid game players and players just starting. A lot of those people did not have any of those characters geared up, ready to go. So, where a lot of the older players obviously do, but not really geared.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. We talked about it last week, but balancing between the newer player that hasn't built that roster yet versus the veteran player that has everything just ready to go, where all these events are just a gimme character.
Yeah,
for the most part, it's tough.
So,
but anyway, we've been beating around the bush.
Well, I have one other question for you though. With this calendar, do you see a spot for the new Geonosis map territory battle map to actually drop in there?
No, I think. Well, let's see. The way they've been messaging, they said they were going to rework Newt Gunray and Count Dooku later in May as part of the ramp up toward the Darkside Territory battle in Geonosis. So they have it.
So you're thinking Geonosis map in June then? I'm
thinking in June, unfortunately. Yeah, I really thought it would be in May, but
okay.
Yeah, unless they replace Imperial Retaliation, that Darkside Territory battle, with the Geonosis one on the 27th, or there's a long shot here. We talked about it in the past. There's a quality of life update that allows guilds to choose which territory battle they partake in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're thinking June or very end of this month.
Yeah. Wishful thinking, 27th with the quality of life update, more likely in June.
Okay. Yep. That was the only thing I was looking at. I was wondering if you had an idea as far as that goes, since they teased it and they have been teasing reworks and everything ramping up towards this event. So figured I would throw it out there.
Yeah, that is my 2 cents.
All right, so we had that. That wasn't the only news that we got, believe it or not.
Yeah. We've been beating around the bush about it, but Padme Amidala is coming to the game. It's a legendary event.
Yeah, it really came out in a very weird way.
Yeah, we got it. We got a trailer for
kind of
it was a trailer. She came out there. She was shooting B1s. He said, Amidala coming to the game. She did her little special, did some green stuff with Anakin, and
it lasted all of what, 20 minutes?
I'm not sure how long it was up, but they did end up pulling it.
Not a long time.
It wasn't enough to know that we needed separatists. So for a couple days, we were discussing.
The post always said separatists. We just didn't see the video got taken down of actually Padme and kind of the teaser of the droids and everything getting blasted. But yeah, it does require separatists.
Right.
Which
we weren't sure if it was going to require the new separatist to make everybody farm or just any old separatist. It turns out it is any separatist tuned to be easier with the new ones. But that's fair.
She didn't even say it really was tuned to make it easier with the new separatist. She just said it's going to be easier with the new separatist because obviously they are newer and a lot more powerful than any of the older separatists. Because if you go through and look at them, I mean, Grievous just got a rework. Droideka B1 just came into the game. IG-100 and B2 just got a rework. Everybody after that is pretty much a year one character that has never been touched except Asajj. So I understand where she's coming from, and as far as making that statement on what team is obviously going to make it easier. And going into that, how are your separatists looking?
They're looking pretty good. I won't have Droideka and B1 up to 7 stars, but I do have Grievous maxed out, Zeta. They got Magna Guard Zeta.
B2?
B2 is G12 Zeta. So I got those 3 good to go.
Well, that
the rest of my
that and then what? You have Asajj at Gear 12.
Yeah, all my Geonosians are at Gear 12 minus Poggle because Poggle.
Yeah, then you're good to go. You go through, use your droids, and then throw Sunfac and Geosoldier in there. You'll be able to get through there.
I'm not worried about it. My Magna Guard is Gear 10. I can bring them up to 11 if I just need to. But I'm pretty optimistic. How are you looking?
I don't want to talk about it. My separatists are in rough shape, so I have Asajj at Gear 12.
Okay. So it's going to be a little arduous for you, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was saving up gear to kind of figure out the team. I do have Dooku at Gear 10 and B2 Super Battle Droid at Gear 10. Then everybody else at that is just sitting at my normal Gear 7, Gear 8 level.
Well, here's kind of the cruel irony. Your Anakin is pretty high up there, right?
Yeah, my Anakin's Gear 12.
Right. What about your Ahsoka?
My Ahsoka is Gear 10 only because she requires 2 golden eyeballs, which I do have saved up if I create that team. Yeah. She's not in a bad spot.
Your Jedi team's ready to go. Mine are hot garbage. So I'm going to get Padme, but have nothing to do with her.
Really? Because the team they were recommending was General Kenobi, which I have Gear 12 maxed out.
He's Gear 12.
Jedi Knight Anakin, which I have Gear 12. Where's your Jedi Knight Anakin at?
He might be at 9. Let me take a look.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, he's pretty low.
Ahsoka?
Anakin's at 9. Ahsoka is at 10.
Okay, and then the other one they had C-3PO.
Oh, he's good.
Okay.
He's good to go.
Yeah, so I have everybody pretty much except Ahsoka good, ready to go, and Ahsoka only didn't get there because, golden eyeballs. I was like, I wish you were good enough to be able to go through and take up higher, but not today. I have all the other gear on her. It's really 2 golden eyeballs, and then she goes to Gear 11.
Yeah, so we mentioned the term arduous. Of course, that sent the internet into a tizzy trying to decipher exactly what this means.
And Carrie came pretty much right out and said, they had to come up with a new word because the internet overanalyzes everything and will compare everything that we say to a previous event and how we phrase that. So we just put a word in there that we haven't used before.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like this stuff, and we do a lot of, as they call it, reading the tea leaves.
Yes.
Trying to predict things and all that. But at the end of the day, I just want to enjoy the game. I don't want to just, okay, you need this character with this amount of gear, with this speed, and go in this order, and you can do it.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I want to play the game.
Yeah. Well, you kind of had that, though, with the Malik event. The Malik event was, you go after these characters, this is the kill order, this is how you do it. And it was still difficult. It took you, 5 hours to be able to do at the last second?
Yes. Bringing up bad memories there.
Memories that you blocked out and trying not to think of. But
anger leads to fear leads to anger. Anger leads to suffering, etc., etc.
But yeah, so I'm kind of in that weird spot where I do have Asajj. I'm kind of leaning towards and hoping that people start getting this event done with a team of basically a Count Dooku lead with Asajj, B2, Sunfac, and Geo Soldier is what I'm hoping for. I'm really hoping for. That's kind of the team I'm leaning towards, but I'm going to wait for the event to drop, see how people are getting through the event, and then figure out if I'm going to go through, and it'd even be a possibility of me getting her at 7 stars. If it's not even close, like everything needs to be gear 12 or some ridiculous gear level, I'm just going to say, yep, it's not going to happen. I'm going to go through and try to get her at 5, 6 stars and be happy at that. I'll work towards a 7 star next time she comes around. But, it is what it is. I much rather go through, hold on to that gear, see if it's possible. If it's not possible, say, okay, yep, that is what it is. It's out of my reach, and move on. So it's not going to hurt me for a week and a half. But I do have 150 stun guns, like 200 Carbantes. I have enough salvage for 3 golden eyeballs, 3 stun cuffs. So I'm in a good spot as far as gear goes to be able to take those characters up to probably gear 11 pretty easily.
Okay, well let's take a look at her kit and see if all that is going to be worth it. We did get a preview up on swgoh.gg yesterday or the day before, complete with gear requirements, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let's just talk about her kit real quick.
Yeah.
There's no, surprisingly enough, not a whole lot of leaks coming out of the beta. At least not that I saw.
It's a new beta. Everybody's scared.
Yeah. So they did do some beta testing. It's pretty limited, but some of the comments are real vague. But it's an interesting kit. It's going to definitely beef up Anakin. But let's see if we can do some on the fly theory crafting here. Her basic aggressive negotiations is going to deal physical damage to target enemy, which can't be evaded. All Galactic Republic allies gain protection up. 10% does not stack with itself for 1 turn. And just a reminder, protection up is going to be based off the health of a character. Special 1, Cunning Plan, 3-turn cooldown, dispel all debuffs on light side allies, and they recover 50% health for each Galactic Republic ally, and each debuff dispelled from themselves. Galactic Republic allies gain protection up, 10% stacking for 1 turn. Graceful Assault, which will become Graceful Ass once you get the upgrade over that.
Everybody knows where Stan's eyes are going to be every time he presses that button.
Absolutely. What was Mace? The Unstoppable Ass? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. Anyway. This move will deal physical damage to target enemy and stun them for 1 turn, which can't be copied or dispelled. Then call all light side allies with protection up and Jedi Knight Anakin to assist. That's pretty good. This is going to deal about 10,000 damage. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
All right, we got her leader ability. It does have a Zeta. Light side allies have plus 50% max health, and while they have protection up, they resist all debuffs and can't be critically hit. At the start of their turn, Galactic Republic allies dispel protection up buffs on themselves and gain 1 stack of courage for each 5% protection up dispelled this way. Courage can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Courage, when damaging the target enemy with an attack, for each 5 stacks of courage, dispel 5 stacks and deal bonus damage equal to 40% of the target's max health. So again, it looks like you're going to want to do a lot of health mods on this team. And then finally, her unique on it, always a choice. Padme is immune to fear. Gee, I wonder what that's about. Whenever a light side ally loses protection up, they recover 5% health. Allies can't gain or lose bonus turn meter. Whenever an ally attacks, or whenever an enemy attacks out of turn against a Galactic Republic ally, that ally gains protection up. 10% does not stack with itself for 1 turn, increased to 40% if Padme is their leader. This protection up can't be prevented or dispelled. So definitely a unique kit here. It's going to be interesting to see some of the theory crafters on this. Just kind of hot take. She's not going to get fear. She's going to put protection up. It's going to give you a little bit more survivability, which will be converted into offense whenever your team attacks.
So going through off that, as far as her not getting fear, listening to some of the YouTubers, pretty much a lot of the beta testers were part of the Game Changer program, and they did go through and were mentioning about her not getting fear. But if she's in the leader spot, she doesn't get fear, but the rest of your team still can get fear.
Right.
As far as that spreading, if you go through and attack the leader gets fear, everybody gets fear, it's still possible for that to happen. She just ends up without fear at the end of the turn, or at the start of her turn. I'm not really sure how that works, but the way they phrased it with the mechanics, it sounded like if you attacked her to apply fear to the whole team, it will still land on the whole team and just not on her, which right. I don't know how I feel about. The way I read that kit originally was that, she can't get fear. Well, if you can't place fear on the leader, then it can't spread to the rest of the team by placing fear on the leader. So I'm not really sure how that interaction works, or whether it was a bug or what it was. We'll see when the Padme actually hits the game and everybody else can get their hands on her.
Yeah, well, another thing that jumps out to me is specific Galactic Republic synergy. And we were talking about a little bit this before the show with Jedi Knight Anakin is ending up going to get a nerf. They mentioned he was performing where they wanted him to as far as arena and damage output and all that. Then came out and said that, well, we do want to rein that in just a little bit, a.k.a. they don't want him being used with Jedi Knight Revan. Because he kicks some ass under Jedi Knight Revan.
Yeah, which is kind of going through why you're going through mentioning about theory crafting, and I went through and made a comment, especially with this team and the Darth Revan team and even the Jedi Knight Revan team to some extent. The teams that we have been getting recently from CG seem to fit in a very specific 5 to 6 character team, and that's it. There's not a lot of theory crafting to be done. It's, hey, in their kit, it says, Padme works with Jedi Knight Anakin. General Kenobi calls in to assist, and Ahsoka and Jedi Knight Anakin do not take damage penalties, so obviously you want them together. Jedi Knight Anakin and Ahsoka have synergy together. Well, obviously you want them paired together. And then you're going through, well, that only leaves one spot open. There's not a lot of theory crafting to be done when there's only one spot in the team that doesn't specifically call out other characters within their kits.
Right. Yeah, now, the community has had their say on this too, and there is the more cynical take that this is forcing us to farm specific characters because, obviously they're going to make more money if we all had to farm 5 characters versus just one that we can plug in with our existing roster. The other side of the coin is there are so many characters out there. Power creep is a thing, and this is a way to kind of rein that in. We do have such mature rosters and just breadth of characters with different abilities out there that if they don't limit some of this new stuff, there's a lot of potential there to break the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I kind of understand what they're doing and why they're doing it because of the breadth of the game, how many abilities there are, how much of a chance there are for unintended interactions, and they still run into that within the raids of people bringing in characters, and they're like, well, that we really did not mean for that to happen, so we're going to have to rein that back because it was very unexpected. So I understand where they're going at. Am I a little bit disappointed that we aren't going through and seeing some of these more theory crafting, at least for Arena? Yes.
Yeah, and it's not to say we won't.
Yeah,
I honestly think coming out.
Yeah, I honestly think it will start coming back, in which these factions will start getting re-looked at, and new characters will plug into these factions, and we'll start building up a roster of like 10 to 15 characters per faction, which will make a big difference. And then you're going to have a lot more theory crafting to do, kind of like the bounty hunters. There are a lot of different good, very, very good bounty hunter teams that you can create. And I'm hoping that's kind of where they're going with the other factions, and they just don't have enough characters within them yet.
Yeah, you brought on another really good point too. Before the show, we had all these plug and play characters back in the day, like the Triple Cleanse team.
Yeah.
When you had Kenobi and Rex and Chirrut doing their thing. Well, we made those teams because we didn't have anybody else to use.
Yeah, we were we were literally going through kind of like how I was talking about the 3v3 characters. You had to know the kits and know what your team was missing. It's like, oh, all right, I need a cleanser and with a good leader. Well, I'll put Rex in there. All right, I need an autoton. All right, I'm going to put Baze in there. Well, Chirrut synergizes really well. I'll put Chirrut in there also. And then you're like, all right, who am I going to put in these last couple spots? You're like, well, you can throw Thrawn in there. Thrawn will go through and stun a guy, lock him down, be able to move, be able to swap turn meter. And then that fifth spot, you're like, well, I can put a little bit of anybody in there. You were basically creating a team based on how you wanted to play the game and what teams you were going up against. Right now, it's, well, the kit says they work well together.
Right.
Which, that's why I kind of like what they did with the bounty hunter team. It's like, all right, well, I want to use a Zam Wessel lead. All right, she synergizes really well with thermal detonators. All right, obviously Greedo, Dengar get automatically placed on that team, and then you can kind of build from there. So I see where they're going. I think it's just, as we were talking, they're in an odd spot in the game right now where they can't go through and create those plug-and-play characters because of all the unintended consequences. And then, man, people complain about a whole team being overpowered. I can only imagine if it was like one character that breaks Arena.
Yeah, and also too, we are in the Clone Wars era of the game, and they are looking at doing reworks. And look at the Galactic Republic roster. There are a lot of bench warmers on there.
Yeah,
Jedi Knight Guardian, Kit Fisto, Eth Koth, the Clone Wars Chewbacca, Ima Gundy,
Plo Koon,
Jedi Consular, Cup.
Yes, the Cup meta is going to happen. The Cup meta. I knew it.
And the clones. So
yeah,
I will be absolutely shocked if the clones don't get a decent rework and some new characters that will feed into the Galactic Republic meta.
You're going to be a couple months down the line here.
It will.
With the
it
Dark
will
Side
be.
Territory battle coming out first.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying, CG knows kind of what their plan is for these characters. So when they're making these kits, we see this pattern before. A kit comes out, it's at a certain level, it stays there for a little while. Then another character comes out, which will elevate that kit, do something completely different with it, and so on and so forth. Then the counter to that will come out, and they'll, it just kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Always in motion the future is.
And I suppose some of this that we're seeing right now is kind of a transition period in the game also, because we're going from the Old Republic into the Clone Wars era, and there's kind of a gap as far as the team's getting built, because they haven't been really leading up to it at all.
There's that. There's the new release cadence. There's a lot of things going on with the game right now.
Yep.
But let's go back to Padme for a minute. So the kit came out. The second thing that people tuned in on was her gear requirements.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yikes.
Yeah, they were pretty much right up there with Malak, needing a lot of those brand new pieces, a lot of those other high-end gear. And it was kind of one of those other things, kind of like the characters and the synergies that I've been looking at and just cringing about, just because it just seemed like, oh, we're creating a new piece to go through and alleviate the bottleneck, except the only way to get the piece is either farm it from essentially like an extremely hard node that doesn't have a good drop rate, or buy from crystals. There's nowhere else in the game to get those things. So it's like, well, you got rid of a bottleneck of a stun gun and a Carbonti, but you could get the Carbonti from challenge gear, and the stun guns you can buy from pretty much every store, plus raids, plus territory wars, plus territory battles, plus events. You can get them everywhere, and now you're going through and crystals, and now you're going through, oh, we just created a even higher end gear piece.
Right.
Bottleneck that you have to purchase with crystals, otherwise you're going to be waiting a month to farm that one piece of gear.
And unfortunately, I think this is going to continue going forward. I mentioned it last week, so I expect to see these things in their kit, and here they are.
I mean, I don't
three of them.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them being in the kit. I have a problem with them not placing them anywhere within, like, the raid stores, the guild event token currency. They aren't placed anywhere else within the stores to buy them with any other currency other than crystals.
Yeah, I think that's by design. They're going to sell as much as they can right now, and I think they will go to more places eventually. All the other gear has followed the same pattern as well. It does suck. I've spent a lot of crystals on this new gear already just to put it on Malak. So
I've done it on Malak and Darth Revan.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I understand why they did the new gear level. It might just be the fact that Malak had a gear 9, a brand new piece of gear. You want to go through and create such a high-end piece of gear that's super hard to go through and farm or buy through crystals, and you put it at gear 9. I understand.
Well, Padme has it at gear 8.
Yeah. It's like Malak might have had a gear 8 too. I forget how much Malak had. I'll have to look it up. But going through, it's, you know what I mean? Going through at that low of a gear level, if it was at a gear 11 to go to gear 12 or gear 10, one of the new pieces at gear 10, one piece at gear 11, or say two of them at gear 11 or something like that, I can kind of understand that, because you can get the character up to a usable level by that point, and then the new gear can kind of kick it over the edge. So
yeah, I mean, it's nothing is free. I've mentioned this a million times. We're getting a lot more stun guns. We're getting a lot more Carbontis and all the things we used to have to really scrounge for and spend crystals on. That's gone to the stores. This has replaced that. It's it's a zero-sum game. It's not going to change. It's just the cups are going to be moved around. The balls can be under different ones each time. Yeah, my analogies are getting all mixed up, but I don't care.
Yeah, that's the only thing that really bothers me on how low the gear is. And Malak has a new piece of the gear at gear 8, gear 9, gear 10, and gear 11. So he requires 4 of them starting at gear 8. That's the big thing that goes through and makes it look like just a money grab, with it being at such a low gear. Kind of makes me cringe.
Yeah. So there's some backlash on that. So today, CG Top Hat released an update on her gear requirements, saying with the release of Padme Padme Amidala's kit yesterday, a number of players noted the stringent requirements to upgrade her gear level. After digging into those gear requirements, we realized she's required more high-end gear than we intended. The following gear is in excess of her spec: 100 Mark 8s, 120 Mark 8 salvage, 50 stun cuffs, and 50 stun guns. This was due to an error in the gear creation tool we used to design characters, which has been rectified. I would love to see the data that tool uses.
I would go through and question the gear requirements on Malak also, and maybe even Darth Revan with their creation tool, because it seems like their creation tool broke when they added the new gear.
yeah, maybe we'll get a gear refund.
Hey,
I will hold my breath.
Hey, that would be awesome. Someone should go through and comment on Reddit about going through. Well, did the gear creation tool break when it created Malak's gear also?
Yeah, I'm not going to say their line. I don't know. It's a very odd statement.
I don't understand how the gear creation tool would be fine for Malak but broken for Padme, because there's no other reason that it should have been changed unless they're tweaking it for gear level 13.
I don't know. We are but simple podcast hosts and not computer scientists or data analysts. So I don't know. Either way, they go on. They're not changing her gear requirements, but they decided the best course of action to remedy the situation is to layer the excessive gear into the reward tiers of the Padme event. Our thinking here is we want to reward players who are making dedicated progress on 7-starring her with the gear intended to level her up. So, for Tier 5, you're going to get 50 Mark 8 biotech implant components. At Tier 6, you'll get 60 implant salvage. Tier 6... Oh, those are both Tier 5. Tier 6, you'll get 50 stun cuffs salvage. Tier 7, you will get 50 stun guns and 50 Mark 8 implant components. And at Tier 7, you'll also get 60 biotech implant salvage. So none of the new gear piece stuff, but the gold eyeballs and the stun cuffs and the stun gun, you'll get pieces for that. So it helps.
If they aren't going to change the gear, I think this was a good compromise. And I understand why they didn't want to go through and change the gear levels, because they go through, it changes the base stats. It could affect how the team interacts and everything based on the gear. So I understand them not wanting to go in and completely change our gear right before the event drops and just leaving it as it is. I think this was a good compromise and fix to actually throw that gear in there to kind of help players along and kind of get it into the balance that they originally intended for the gearing to be.
My cynical take is you're not going to buy the new gear if you're not at the gear level to use it, so this helps get you there.
No, you're automatically there. You aren't going to use any of those pieces to get to gear 8.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, nice try. Maybe a Carbonti, maybe a stun gun at the very worst. But
nice.
Yeah,
okay.
It was a nice thought.
So let me offset that negative statement with the positive one. You don't have to use this gear on Padme.
That's
if you
right.
want to use it on somebody else, you can.
Like Grievous.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not. Does it make me question what happened before? Yes. Do I like the way they handled it and created a solution? Yes. So overall, not horrendous.
Yeah. So I guess our main takeaway with this is, if you want to have this new gear in here, fine. Give us more ways to get it, please.
Yes. Throw it in the territory battle rewards. Throw it in the Sith raid. Do something. Throw it in a couple of the stores. People will buy it.
Yeah.
Outside of crystals. It's just very painful right now with it only being a crystal purchase.
All right, so let's see. Moving on. We, for the longest time, had been predicting Padme to be a territory battle reward character.
Yeah,
so
I
now
thought she was going to be like, Hoth Leia?
Yeah. So now with her out of the way there, that kind of opens up a spot.
Who?
Who do you think would be a good territory battle map reward now? Who would just get you amped up to beat that special mission? Get your 1 shard.
Yeah, get my 1 shard at a time. I have no idea. I would... A clone, maybe?
Yeah, well, I don't want to wait for the new series to come out to get some new clones.
I mean, I don't think we're going to get the... Well, maybe. I was going to say, the last time we went through and got the territory battle maps, we had light side drop and then basically a month later get dark side. So I guess we could get them back to back. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I was thinking, geez, we wouldn't see them to the fall, which actually would line up with the new Clone Wars series. So we might be getting a new clone. Okay. The other thought for the guild event currency store, I was thinking, I mean, they put Wampa in there. So what about one of those lizard beasts they went through and had to battle in the arena?
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, get one of those creatures out there. That would create a creature tag and have Wampa and that character in there. That would be pretty cool. I'm not really sure who else would actually go through and fit in there. I'm not sure. Ah, man. I don't think it would be one of the Jedi that are missing. I think the Jedi that would be missing would be kind of like the bounty hunters, in which you have a faction that's needed for special missions and combat missions and things like that.
I could see one of the Jedi being the reward character, but there's really not that many cool ones left. I mean, we mentioned Kaidi Mundi. Who's the other dude with the crazy looking head? They all got crazy looking heads.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you like to clarify?
Shaak Ti was there.
Yeah,
she would be pretty cool. She's pretty.
I think Shaak Ti over Kaidi Mundi, but the other thing to keep in mind here is CG has gone out and said that the territory battle map is going to be laid out differently than Hoth. That they have different interactions within the maps and different ways to actually go through and get through the map. So this might actually go through and change on how we're thinking about characters being rewarded and things like that. It might not actually be there. We might not get a character. They might be required characters, and then everything else is within the store.
Yeah, I see that too. They did kind of hint at needing guild event tokens in currency.
And I mean, I'm hoping they take our suggestion that they're going through and kind of backing off needing pure GP for stars and are more concentrating on factions and gearing certain teams to complete combat missions to be able to get those stars as a guild.
Yes, yeah. Just waiting on the GP gate to be able to beat an event really sucks. It's boring. Yes.
Yeah, and I'd much rather go through, and that way you're able to see progress because you're getting more waves completed as you go through and gear up, star up, and mod up characters a specific way to be able to get through the actual missions.
Yeah. So speaking of the layout, we should get the Dark Side preview in the next few weeks or so, and that should give us some insight on what's going to be needed, where we're going to get characters, and
you really
start applying that to the light side as well.
The man of optimism over there. Jeez.
Yeah.
The other side of the holotable, being all optimistic, I'm thinking we aren't going to hear jack squat other than the characters that are going to be needed, and it's going to drop, and then we're going to have to try to figure it out as we go with no warning. Kind of like Dark Side territory battles. Hey, you need bounty hunters and clone troopers, and that was about it. Have at it, guys. Figure it out.
I think we're going to get some sort of preview. I think they may even do a beta test for it, just because how on fire Dark Side territory battles were when they released.
It was amazing. You know, they were working on releasing Dark Side characters to make that work out eventually.
It was something. So right now, who do you think we're going to need for Dark Side territory battles on Geonosis?
Well, I don't know if we're gonna need specifically separatist anywhere. I think it's gonna be as a combat mission for droids. Well, dark side droids. So you're gonna have you're gonna want to run that General Grievous team.
I think we will need separatists. I think it'll be similar to the Empire missions on Hoth.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them being part of it, but I could see like requiring a specific droid on part of it. I want to say the Geonosians. I don't know how that team would work.
We need one more, which kind of makes me think that
you don't need anything. They will make you use. Say it's just
just a 4 Geonosian team.
Nah, 3. They just go through.
There's 4.
And no, I mean they'll just say, "Hey, you can take 3 out of the 4 in there."
No, I could see. Here's what I can see. I see separatists being needed as like an Empire analog. I see Geonosians as like the Empirical troopers.
Empirical troopers.
Yeah, I screwed that word up. You know what I'm talking about. The shooty stormtrooper guys.
All right, I think the Imperials would be able to handle that.
Yeah. So Geonosians, I could see being a faction like that. Again, the only problem is there's 4 of them right now. So I could see them releasing some sort of generic Geonosian specialist, or Geonosian commando, whatever they want to call them, as a 5th member of that team that maybe needs or is kind of like Hothan.
What's Watto considered?
He is
a bug.
Yeah. No, he's not Geno. He's a completely different species.
Okay.
What
about Tuskens?
They'd have to add another one or 2.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I'm just trying to think of other dark side characters that might work. I could see Tuskens would be a good one because not a lot of people have them geared up. Urzatron may be the exception with that.
Yeah, as far he's ready to go.
Yeah, and actually knowing how those characters work. But I mean, Tusken seemed like a faction that would possibly be able to fit in there, and it might be stretching it a little bit on the theme of the map, but I could see it being possible.
Yeah. Droids, possible. Bounty hunters. There's a lot of prequel bounty hunters. I don't know if they would go as far to limit it to prequel era or just say any bounty hunters.
They would have to create another faction tag, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I don't think they will. And bounty hunters are so strong and geared up already. It's my kind of rule of thumb. I always look for underutilized characters, or AKA ones you don't want to gear. And they're likely candidates to be given a reason to exist.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of thinking Tuskens. That faction hasn't been touched and just seemed to be fit into that category very well.
And there's always mission-specific characters they can tag as well. Just create teams that way.
Yep. I mean, it could be going through, and let's not forget what they did for light side and dark side territory battles. Or I don't remember if they did it for dark side, but definitely light side. They dropped brand new characters that were required for the territory battle map.
Yeah, and I see them doing that too. Give you something to farm so you can work toward a special mission or a reward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see where it goes. There's a lot of good possibilities there. I like the direction. It's slowly ramping up, unfortunately. Very slow. It seems like they went through and had this lull in this first quarter for them to shift from the Old Republic to this Clone Wars era, in which we're not having new characters and we aren't really seeing where they're... Well, we know where they're heading, but there's nothing in the game to direct us towards that. So there's definitely going to be a lag from when Territory Battles comes out to when we can start farming, to when we can start gearing and start progressing and actually seeing where they're going to head after that.
Yeah, so at least we have some time. I'm excited.
Well, you did forget I think both of us forgot 2 characters here for Darkside Territory battles that now I'm looking at this and remembering the post they went through and just did today. Nute Gunray and Dooku are both mentioned. They both said reworks too, didn't they? They weren't.
Yeah, I did mention that during the calendar talk. Yeah, they are reworking those characters. They quote later in add to the Geonosian territory battle map, which again that's kind of what leads me to believe it's going to be toward the end of the month. But I'm excited for that too, and that kind of makes me lean more toward Nute Gunray getting a capital ship.
Either Nute Gunray needing a capital ship or him being one of the characters that are required for a mission.
Yeah, definitely. Again, he's a good rule of thumb. Look for underutilized character, ones you don't want to gear.
Yeah.
Nute Gunray fits that bill completely.
My Nute Gunray, I think, is like gear 9 because of that new teeny team.
Right.
Back in the day, that lasted all of a week.
Yep.
But, yeah.
I'm excited for Dooku to get a rework, though. He's my boy.
Yeah, he's been one of the characters I've actually been looking at to plug and play for Grand Arena for my Sith Triumvirate team to kind of prevent that Thrawn Magma Trooper cheese interaction. When they go up against him, actually plug Dooku in to try to split up my Darth Revan team and my Triumvirate team.
Yeah, I like Dooku as a character, particularly now with these new books. And I also think just the pain of the Dooku meta has subsided enough where I can learn to love that character again.
Oh, I might love that Dooku meta coming up here in a couple days trying to get through this Padme event.
Yeah, true.
Dodge. Haha, take that, Padme. Actually, no, never mind. It's oh, you can't dodge her basic. Oh man, that's gonna get ugly.
All right,
I guess that's one way to get around a character's leader ability for the legendary event. Yeah, we'll just go through and completely negate a leadership ability because you can't dodge or avoid her basic. Oh man! All right, what else do we got here?
That's about it for kind of the news out of the game. We had a listener question. I'm sorry, I forgot to look up who asked it, but they wanted us to talk about 3v3 strategy for Grand Arena and I guess upcoming territory wars. This is not my realm of expertise. Admit that. There's a few kind of basic rules I tend to try to follow. Always look at your opponent's roster, kind of build your defense off of their weaknesses, and try to play your counter teams smartly. If you have a hard counter team, put them behind somebody that requires that team is a soft counter. Try to encourage them to burn their hard counter early so they can't use it against your hidden defense. Is that kind of a strategy you try to use, or you go for something different?
I kind of just do a generic one because if I'm going through and actually looking at an opponent's roster and trying to go through and completely modify what teams I'm putting where because of that, then yeah, I will do that. Right now, especially for 3v3, I've been just going through and actually putting stronger teams up front. Go ahead, try to get through them, and then basically in the back, putting one strong team in each zone with kind of like filler teams. If they get through my front, they get through my front, but it's going to cost them. So right. I've actually been going through putting my Darth Revan, Darkside Bastila, and Malik up front. It's like, all right, go ahead, try to get through them, see how it goes. And I've been going through keeping teams behind because I want to go through and make sure I get through offense and actually put pressure on my opponent. So I usually keep Jedi Knight Revan, I usually keep CLS, I usually keep JTR. I'll end up putting bounty hunters, Ewoks, Night Sisters, just characters that I find are a pain in the butt to go up against on defense. I'll put them on defense. So usually my walls look like Kira, Nest, Karth, Mission, Zalbar. my Darth Revan team, obviously. Throw my Ewoks in there. I just make it difficult to get through my front zones and say, all right, if you get through my front zones, then more power to you. I'm hoping to go through and have you on one or two of those teams take 2 to 3 attacks. Waste some good teams to try to get through the back and hope you don't have enough, and that my oddball teams that are maybe have a gear 12 character, the rest are at gear 10, gear 11 maybe. Just kind of hodgepodge teams are going to be able to go through and just be a little bit more overpowered, and you don't have a synergistic team to go up against them.
Yeah, that's another thing I look forward to with instead of these kind of 5-person synergistic teams, you really got to distill down to just a few things you're looking for. Is it offense? Is it heal immunity? Almost like a single move. Thrawn, you're trying to just fracture somebody. Han, you're trying to just blast offense out of the gate. So we're kind of looking at defense or even offense. Tenacity and protection are a little more important because you want to be able to withstand those initial barrages, because a lot of times, these matches come down to really one move and who gets it off first. If you hit a critical stun, that really shuts a team down.
Yeah, and like I was talking about earlier when we were talking about the 3v3 territory wars, this is what I like, because you go through and you have to go through and think about it. You aren't going to go online and find a straight counter. You're going to go through and, like, you were going up against a Karth team right before we went on the podcast. All right, you're going through Karth with a Zeta, has Canderous, and then they had Johanni on there. It's like, all right, what is the leadership doing? How do they get their protection gain? You have to know what they do. You have to know that Canderous will go through and apply dots. You're going to have to know that Karth will go through and actually you're gaining health and protection because they're landing debuffs. So you're like, all right, I need a team that either have tenacity up or has high tenacity to begin with. So you're, say, like Bastila, Ezra, Kanan as a team would work. Going through Rex, fast Rex, throwing up tenacity up with maybe Wampa or someone like that. Knowing what the other team is doing and then building that counter off of that. Mm-hmm. They don't always have to be weird, like we were talking, they don't always have to be synergistic. I mean, you can go through and, like, Rex makes it very easy. All right, they go through and apply a ton of debuffs. All right, well, I just need Rex in there. He'll go through, throw tenacity up, and basically negate that team because you aren't going to land any buffs. Or debuffs, I should say.
Yeah, all those plug-and-play characters you mentioned earlier, they really shine in this.
Yeah.
Rex, Wampa, Thrawn.
Sunfac is another one. When he's taunting, he counters and dispels on his basic. So that makes a big team, or very good. B2, Super Battle Droid, is also another good character to go through. Hey, they throw buffs up everywhere or taunt constantly. Well, AoE dispel. Gone. Negate that team, and you're just using him from there, and then you're just throwing in a couple damage dealers to try to take out the team and have him actually control the rest of it. So it's knowing the characters that you have and knowing what abilities the other team is doing. So spend the time. If you aren't sure what they do, go on SWGOH, look at their kits, see what they actually do, and then come up with strategy after that.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there too in the community. Give our buddies Shattered Order another plug. They've got a great 3v3 Discord going on. They've got a Goodnight Punk has a good 3v3 team idea graphic he's put together with offense and defense teams. A lot of good ideas on there.
That is a very good starting point, especially for defense, to actually build your defense off of that. When you get into offense, then it kind of gets a little shaky because you have to know what counters you can actually use. But it's going to give you a very good general idea to start off with.
Yeah, for sure. Any kind of go-to teams you just really like?
An oddball team that I really like using is actually an Admiral Akbar lead with Leia and C-3PO.
Yeah, that is a good one. I like that one a lot. She just hammers.
Yeah.
Hammers away.
I don't have it completely geared up, and she just goes through and walks over teams fairly easily. So that team is a lot of fun to run. And then the other team that I like running, I'm still working on gearing up, is Zamwessel, Dengar, Greedo.
Yeah, that's a good mix too. Kind of one of my oddball is let's see here. I actually Poggle the Lesser lead with Magna Guard and B1 Battle Droid. I will use that against Night Sisters. It's for the constant AoE spam, so I can get out from behind Zombie. And Magna Guard will constantly dispel her too.
Okay, yeah, that's very good team there. Trying to look and see if I have any other oddball teams on defense or anything. Not really. They're kind of standard teams, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stick to the synergy teams on defense because the AI usually isn't going to be able to use a more complicated team well. They're going to screw it up. I like Kira on defense. He's tough to get through.
Yeah, I go through and put Kira, L3 and Nest. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck getting through that team in one battle.
Yeah, L3 or Vander Chewy as well. You can get that prepared out there and bring him back. That's a pain. Jin with Shrewt and Baze.
Yep.
They're a pain to get through.
The other one that I've been using recently is actually Karth with Mission and Zalbar for 3v3.
Yep. Yeah, I got them on there too. They're good.
So yeah, you're just describing my whole front row. Go through and throw Asajj, Daka, and Night Sister Acolyte.
Yeah.
Or Zombie, sorry. Zombie, Daka, and Asajj. They just go through and start stunning everybody, and then you're basically in a stun lock fest. Throw some potency on them, and just have them stun everybody. Can't do anything. So frustrating with that team.
Yeah. Kind of depending on how much effort I want to put into it, I'll usually save the Triumvirate for offense, but they're good defense too. If you're looking to fill a spot, I like Darth Maul with Savage Sidious as a combo, and I've got them all Zetaed, so it's a fun little combo. They're low gear too, so it's almost kind of like a trap.
Yeah, I've run into a lot of those teams. I break through. People put them in the back wall, and it's like I try to go through, and if I lose a Grand Arena, it's because I'm playing too conservative / aggressive in the first wall, that I'm trying to go through and use very little, as weak a team as possible. And then I get to the back and I see all garbage, and I'm like, I have CLS, Jedi Knight Revan, and I'm like, well, crap. I went through and dropped 2 battles because I was expecting something in the back, and all there is crap. So
yeah, that's a strategy you can do too. Save your good characters for offense.
Yeah. So it just goes through it. It really plays games with people as far as going through and trying to, how much resources you're going to use to get through that front wall to figure out what's in the back.
Yeah, well, that's a kind of a quick primer for 3v3. We're going to talk about it more in the next few weeks as we ramp up toward the territory war. Any last thoughts on that before we move on?
No, not really. I'll think about it more as we go through and gear up for the actual territory war, and I'm sure we're going to start seeing, well, no, we won't. Never mind. People keep it close to the vest because they don't want everybody to know their guild strategy. Right. I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to go through and think about some oddball teams. I honestly think going through and putting a complete wall of Asajj, Daka, and Zombie. If you do a fast Zombie and then you go through and have potency on Asajj and Daka, that team would just... Oh, man, you thought the Dooku meta was bad. Just try to go through it. Friggin' stun lock team with 3 characters. Asajj stuns 1, Daka can stun the other 2 in one go, and then your team's frozen. And behind a ton of zombie, you're like, oh, come on. So, yeah. Let's get into this marquee watch and everything, because I think we do have a character actually hitting the board, right? Or
we do. It hit today, and it answered a question we were having. The Emperor shuttle hit the table on a hard node. So it is on light side territory, dark side 7D. So it's a 20 energy node, but you can now farm Emperor shuttle.
So it does seem like exactly what we thought, that basically the Galactic Chase was just going to go through and mimic a marquee event as far as timing on when it would go into shipments and then go free to play. And the only difference is you may or may not unlock it rather than a guarantee unlock like a marquee.
Right. And it's not to say the Chase event won't come back. I don't think it will, but
yeah, I don't think
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I think this is just going to be a different release cadence since the packs and everything were right there along with it.
Right. So we had that hit, which if they follow this cadence, we should have the Ebonhawk hit the table around the 15th. So, 2 weeks or so. And that'll be a nice kind of spread out throughout the month. If they're not releasing anything, they'll, it's not too bad. We have B1 and Droideka that are farmable, B1 on fleet nodes, and Droideka on light side hard node. They came out a little earlier than we were anticipating. We thought it'd be the 9th or the 15th, but I think they're trying to get these out there for the territory battle.
No, they were trying to get it out for the Padme event
or the legendary event.
Yeah, that's what they were. That's why they got bumped up more than anything else. I don't know. It's hard node. It's rough. It's 5 attempts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It makes it very rough. It's not nice.
Math. It doesn't make that big of a difference, but in your soul and how you feel, it makes a huge difference.
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, who you farming? Does this change your strategy any?
Nah, it just made me hold on to the gear. Like I said, I'm gonna hold on, see what the event's like, and then figure out whether I'm gearing my Geonosians to try to go through and get a 7-star Padme, or just gonna continue working on my Sith team, Darth Revan team to get up there. But other than that, I'm pretty much set. I mean, my Sith Marauders moving right along. I'm at about 46 of 100, so with the double drop, Sith Marauder should be done, and finish up with Aura Singh as my last Cantina node. That'll be nice. Visas Mar, I got up to 81 of 100, and like I said, I was waiting until the Galactic Bounties came back around. That shows back up this weekend also, so she will be at 7 stars. Can get on to Admiral Holdo as my last Galactic Bounty farm. So I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's kind of why I wasn't completely upset about not having a new marquee character, because I'm going through and looking at my characters, and they're starting to light at the end of the tunnel. Having a couple of them go through and go from 6 to 7 stars of hard nodes, so they're getting there.
Yeah, for sure, and you'll definitely have a chance to get caught up a little more. I've been farming Droideka and B1 hard. I've got Droideka at 24 of 100.
Oh, okay, wow. All
B1
right.
of 26 of 85.
Then,
I did 5 of those super packs back when they were selling those.
Yeah.
I think I got 12 shards each drop, so I only got like 60 shards ahead, but still not too bad for a week.
I see why you're going through and not worried about this event at all, because, geez, by the end of the event, you should have Droideka at 7 stars. So at the very worst, if you're having difficulty, you can plug in another droid into that team.
Yeah, that's my plan. Malik, I'm at 80 of 100. So as soon as we finish this territory battle, he is going to be 7 stars.
I haven't even started starring him up. I've just been worried about gear out of that store currently to try to get this team up, and then I'll switch over to shards as soon as I have an established arena team geared up, ready to go.
Yeah, man, I was really enjoying buying gear out of there, but with another character coming pretty soon, I'm going to start hoarding this up again.
I need those crystals, though. Arena crystals are key to the game, especially with those new characters. That's why I went through, and in my mind, I was like, I would like to go through, burn all this currency on the actual character shards, get him up, but I need to go through and get this team into arena as soon as possible. That way it's a lot easier to maintain a good arena rank and get more crystals.
Yeah, that's another balancing thing that's kind of weird. The gulf between a top 5 arena placement and even top 10, top 20 is huge. I mean, I was 1 or 2 in both arenas most days for about 3 months, and this game was completely free to play, just easily free to play. And now, even with a few weeks outside of that, with Malik, my crystal hoard's gone. It's, I'm back to, if I want something, I have to buy crystals for it.
Well, when you go through and have to gear Darth Revan and Malik with those new gear pieces, I mean, you're talking about 12 to 15,000 crystals just right there in the gear. Right. So I don't think it has anything to do with where you're finishing in arena or anything like that. It has everything to do with the price on that new gear.
Yeah, for big stuff like that, yeah, you're right. As far as farming characters,
yeah,
it is going into my crystal hoard. I think my days of the 50,000 crystal hoard are done. Nice while it lasted, but I think that is through.
Yeah, well, on that note here, let's wrap this up. Hopefully, I'm praying for everybody. I hope you get your Padme at the very least unlocked. Go for that 7-star. It definitely seems like a start to a very good Darth Revan counter team. I'm not sure if she's going to be a very good counter with Malik or hold on defense, but hey, it'll give you another team to go up against in Territory Wars and Grand Arena and have another counter and stand a fighting chance. So, on that note, let's wrap this up and get on out of here.
Yeah, y'all know the deal. Leave us a review on iTunes. Your podcast server choice helps us grow. Show up in searches. Join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. You can find us at thealliancegaming.com with all kinds of other great content creators, or you can email us at cantinavisla@gmail.com. And if so inclined, head on over to patreon.com/cantinavisla, and that is VIZSLA. Drop us a buck or two. We would really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Until next time. Later.
Yep.
As you are exiting the cantina, we would like to say thanks for stopping by, and we hope to see you out on the hollow table soon.